Serious, what mysteries from the early days of the internet are still unsolved to this day. I somehow stumbled onto a very disturbing website called something like howtobeserialkiller.com. That's not exactly the right URL, but it's close. I probably found it through stellarproject.com. It was full of information that seemed like it might actually really help someone to get away with killing strangers. For instance, using a heavy-duty zip tie to suffocate them, so your hands would be free to hold them down, or rolling dice to decide what kind of person to kill next so there wouldn't be an obvious pattern. I tried to show a friend what I had found a couple weeks later, and the site had been removed with a simple message remaining. How to be a serial killer has been removed. If you're really interested in killing someone, why don't you start with yourself? I'd like to know what the hell inspired someone to create such a site, and why did they decide to remove it? What about the guy that tried to test his new gas mask and made chlorine gas, and it was absorbed into his skin, and he stopped posting updates? Yeah, that I've seen the screen caps of that. It was on the /k/4chan board. His last post had a picture of his skin already badly affected by the gas, and then he never posted again. Reasonable explanation is that it was fake and the arm thing was makeup, since the amount of gas needed to peel his skin would have the whole building evacuated, and Noon found news on this. Back in 1993, there was a page that had the full process for creating ecstasy. Must have been written by a scientist, because it was highly detailed. Swim knows what you're referring to. It's from a book a guy wrote in the 60s. He was a scientist. He is the one responsible for the resurgence of ecstasy after WW1. The book or books details how to make and take almost every known drug, as he recreated them all himself and studied them both with himself and his wife. Keep in mind MDMA was made by Merck and was patented, so the process and recipe were obviously published. But, said chemist, also synthesized MDMA, NDEA, MDA and so forth, and documented all of them very well. I believe he was the pharmaceutical scientist who developed drugs for the US military, including LSD, which they used on soldiers and such. With some searching you'll find it. They were all published. He is regarded as the essential godfather of recreational drugs. The identity of the main creator of Bitcoin. Many speculations, but still no solid proof of who they are exactly. Just that their Bitcoin wallet remains unshade, and there's speculation for that too, like they're waiting to dump it when the time's right, or has simply lost the code to the wallet. Still interesting altogether. There was that guy in the middle 90s who designed his girlfriend using software. He ended up with something like a mugshot, then posted it, hoping to find her in real life. He swore he was in love with her. This image he had created. He became an immediate laughingstock. I can't locate any links, but I remember one person referring to the girl as chiclet teeth. Anyway, I wonder if the guy ever found her. Not sure if it's real or not, but I remember watching a video of man exploring the catacombs, and out of nowhere he just drops the camera and begins to run. Wouldn't say early internet, but interesting nonetheless. There was a multitude of killers who have posted on 4chan. One who asked the question, what does /b/keep in the freezer? They then proceeded to post pictures of body parts with timestamps to prove it authentication. Another one was, again 4chan, a guessing name of a missing person, and provided a freebie which when guessed correctly lead to the coordinates of where the body was buried. Is the Heaven's Gate website still up and running? Yes, it is. But the real question is, who is paying for it to stay up? The ones who stayed behind. I think a few of the cult members stayed behind so they could keep the site up, and whatever else of the cult running. It may have just been one person even. That 4chan thread about the guy who injected the blow liquid in a syringe into himself. I can't find the thread, but I do remember seeing it in a top 15 video I like. It might have gotten solved since then, but IDK. I remember that one. I think it was glow stick fluid. It hasn't been solved, but it's somewhat accepted that he died of a heart attack and or poisoning from the liquid. Just how many sex offenders did I talk to as a 13/F/NC in all those AOL chat rooms? Or was I really just talking to other idiot teenagers? That and what happened to Rotten.com totally scarred me. My friends and I would look at it when we were like 12, and I can still remember the images. I'm 31 now. I remember the first image I saw on that site was a guy's face completely mangled by a motorcycle accident. That left a hell of an impression on me. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto, inventor of Bitcoin? He disappeared shortly after its release and has never been heard of again. He still has $10 billion worth that are just sitting there untouched. Lake City Quite Pills. Old Reddit user who used to post here in the really old days, before subreddits even I think, died. Their friend took over their Reddit account for a bit and let Reddit know. Eventually people noticed the user was linked to some site, I think it was porn or something, which in turn contained message logs. These message logs were all pretty cryptic. The logs eventually mentioned holding a service for the dude who died, but gave weird requirements like not giving your real name to hotel staff, not being told, only American currency and to remain low profile. Stuff like that. People are a bit suspect of this, and during the same night this party is meant to be happening some mobster is killed close to the venue of it by hitmen. Website after a while was taken down and all that remains are screenshots of the original logs. Barely Sociable has a vid about the topic on YouTube which will do it far more justice than I have here, but it is certainly the oldest thing I know of. If anyone is interested, a podcast called Red Web did an episode on this about a month ago. It was real interesting hearing all the pieces come together, and I highly recommend it. I can only think of Numanuma Guy and wonder what the legend is doing now. Tourette's Guy. It's been proven that it was a fake, but as far as I know nothing is known about the actors or the filming of it. It's all very vague. Still makes me laugh though. Someone found the house they film in, somewhere in Ohio. I do wonder if the other people in the videos are actors too. We all know Tourette's Guy, his son, his dad, I'm gonna call him grandpa, and his ex-wife are all probably actors. But what about the black lady at the store who slapped grandpa? Did the guy playing Danny actually bust into the grocery store's bakery to ask for the bathroom? What's up with the guy who tried to fight Danny for clogging the toilet? A young girl went missing or was killed in a certain area, and as time passes, on the out of her old white guy titled the anniversary of that girl's disappearance/death with the location stares into the camera and is just laughing menacing for quite a while before the video ends with him smiling. 1-800-GALF tip 1990 to 2000 and man would count up to 10 and would have a pause somewhere between 5 to 10 and then a jump scare of a screaming or a strange siren noise. Don't call it now, it leads to an erotic hotline. The most mysterious song on the internet. I only know about this mystery because of a series of videos made by Wang. If you don't know what the mystery is about, it's about a song that is visible to the public, but no one knows who made the song. No one even knows the title of the song. This search started in 2007, but wasn't big until 2019 I think. r/Thataville farming game. Essentially, a user on Reddit posted about a farming simulation game. However, there's a twist where you kill your wife and have to cover it up. No one is able to find it and some say the op is misremembering details of the game. Pretty sure that's been verified as the op jumbling memories together. It's like the story of the guy who vividly remembers seeing a 1990s anime that was super gruesome and involved things like child suicide. Turns out they were confusing a creepy internet story with an anime that had scared them as a child to create a new memory about something that never even existed. When I was in middle school, I loved Sailor Moon and went browsing the internet for fan content. One day, I stumbled across some hentai gifs of Sailor Mercury getting attacked by tentacles. Quickly closed the window, but I got convinced that, in Japan, Sailor Moon was originally an adult hentai series and got edited down for kids in the English dub. It took a surprisingly long time to undo that conviction. IDK if anyone even saw this site back in the day, but there was a conspiracy blog/website completely dedicated to the idea that Las Vegas was going to be hit by terrorists. Must have been born from post 9/11 paranoia. It was called either Savavegas or Savalasvegas. Never went anywhere, but it was a weird little spot of the early net. The guy who went caving. He ends his blog with "I'll let you know what I find." And then it just ends. Google Ted's caving, and it's the first result. That was one of the best internet horror stories. A creepypasta before creepypasta. I need a link. Who was the asshole that stood up in the middle of the bootleg copy I downloaded of Alien vs Predator? I still have that old 2-part bootleg I downloaded over the course of 4 days on my parents' dial-up internet. It was a perfect, low quality bootleg except for one arsehole who stood up in the middle of a good fight scene. Who gets up right as the fight scene is picking up. How about John Titor, the time traveler? Many theories circulated, but I'm not sure I ever saw a definitive explanation. Everything he predicted was wrong. He duped Bell pretty good though. All those forward this email or endure bad luck chain letters stopped and added up to 2020. In like 6th grade I got one of those emails that said forward this to 10 people and your crush will fall in love with you. My dumbus was new to the internet and I misread it, so I sent it to my crush 10 times. I nearly died of embarrassment the next day at school. Did Hugh Hefner really have a secret collection of sex videos of celebrities from his parties, which his sons and lawyers gave back to them after Who died? And did they really find blueprints for tunnels to be built to James Coanna, Beatty's, and Nicholson's house? Because that is some crazy sex addiction stuff when thinking of building tunnels. The boys playing Call of Duty, but there was a guy strapped to shielding because there wasn't enough room on the ground. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.